Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me now? I've been looking for somebody to confirm this for me. I think I can. I can be heard. Yeah, I think I can.
Oh, yes. Please, can you confirm you can hear me? Okay.
Okay. I think I'm sharing my screen already. So just okay. So basically, what we have talked about for the period of time that you were unable to hear us, for those online, is recapping what we learned yesterday. We tried to recap where we stopped. We stopped at sorting and filtering for visual exploration in Excel. And I made mention that yesterday, one way or the other, we might have seen a dollar sign in the dialog box that allows us to do advanced filter. And today we are going to start by talking about that dollar sign and what it does in Excel. So this leads us to cell referencing, which is what we are going to be learning, like the first thing we are going to be learning today. After that, we are going to be learning the essential formula for data analytics. After that, we try our hands on some formulas before we move to data manipulation in Excel, and then we try to create pivot tables to round it up. So moving forward, we are introducing cell referencing. So I introduced cell referencing by the basic. Really. So anybody else experiencing that? My screen is black. Mr. G, Aji, Mr. G, are you online? Sorry, before I proceed, anybody else can help us confirm that my screen is blank? Flora, are you online? Flora, is not. Are you on? Yes. Okay, I don't want to waste our time, so I think I'll just stop sharing and share again. Sorry. It's showing now. Now that I just stopped sharing, it's showing now. You can see the Excel sheet. Please. Okay, so let me share again. Okay, to move on very quickly. So there are cell referencing is useful for creating variables and formulas in Excel. There are three basic types of cell referencing, like the three basic that I know, and I think that is there. The first one is the relative referencing, the second one is the absolute referencing, and the third one is the mixed referencing, which encompasses relative and absolute. We are going to be learning more about that in like the next few slides. So with cell reference, we can make calculation and data entry in Excel dynamic. So dynamic in the sense that we don't have to repeat formulas all over and all over again. One formula that we write for a cell, if we reference the cell properly, we can use that formula in subsequent cells. So that is what cell referencing help us does. So here I said in simple terms, a cell reference can be referred to a cell name. It's interesting to note that cell referencing has more other uses than just serving as a cell name. If you write a project and you at the end of the project you write reference, to some people the reference is just okay, you got this information here, that is the name of some resources that you use. But to some other people they'll be like, oh, if I want to learn more, then I can actually go to this book again. So it is interesting to know that self-referencing can do much more than just serving as the name of the cell. So that is what I'm emphasizing here. So by now we should know what self-referencing looks like. When I say it is actually like the name of the cell. So if I have a cell like B2, so we know that the cell reference for that B2 is actually B2. You get it? So while a simple reference point, while a simple reference that points to that in a cell with the cell name, what I'm trying to say there is that a simple reference actually points to the cell name. That okay, for B2, the cell reference for B2 is going to be B2. So we can also have a range of cells, that is group of cells. So if I want to reference from cell C5 to cell C20, the cell reference is actually going to be C5 colon. That's what I used to specify because that's actually the range. And I can see example there saying B2 colon B8. That is referencing a group of cells from B2 to C to B8. Now there's best practice in Microsoft Excel. If you want to reference a cell, and probably we don't want to look over the screen, look for the header and the row before we get the cell name. The best way to reference a cell in Microsoft Excel is to click that is supposed to be there. Is to click on the cell you want to refer to. Like that's the best way. It's not it's to cell. That's a mistake. Is to click on the cell you want to refer to. So if you want to refer to a cell and you don't want to like stretch your eyes going around the whole Excel screen, just go to the cell and click it. You know it will capture the name, right? Once it captures the name, you already have the reference wherever you want to use it. We are going to be seeing that in like when we start the hands-on. Um, it is best to highlight through the range. So even if I want to specify like the cell range, I don't need to like start typing CB2 colon B8. It can be strenuous or it can involve your hand. Most of the times when your hand is on the mouse, you don't want to like leave it on time. You get so it's easy to do some click and drag. So when you click on the first one, you can just drag it to highlight to the very last one that you want to reference. That way it's going to select the range. So that is what I am trying to imply there. Then I also move to say that we can reference cell between worksheets also by specifying the name of the worksheet and also specifying the name of the cell. And when we specify the name of the worksheet and we specify the name of the cell, who can remind us what's going to be in between the two? Remember when we say navigating within a worksheet and navigating between a worksheet. Now that is actually what we are trying to do. I have a cell in sheet 1 and I want to use the value of that cell in like sheet 4, and maybe the cell is B2 actually. So if I want to reference that kind of cell in sheet 4, I'll start by typing the name of the sheet 1. If the name of the sheet has space in between it, I'll quote it in a quotation mark. But if it does not have space, it's not necessary. I'll write an exclamation mark to separate it. Then I'll follow it with the name of the cell, B2. So it's going to go like sheet 1 exclamation mark then B2. That way I can use the value of B2 in cell 1 in sheet 1, I can use it in sheet 4. So we can move on quickly. So these are the types of cell referencing, and this is where I'm going to be talking about. Then, so the first one, relative cell referencing. Permit me to read through that. Sorry, this screen is going to die. Okay. Yeah, okay. So the first types of cell referencing is the relative cell reference. So a relative cell reference adjusts its position when copied to a new location. So it refers to a cell position relative to a particular formula. So I'll be showing us this when we get to Excel. So if I write a formula in a cell, I don't want to exit the slide and go to the Excel screen now. But I'll remember everything that I've been saying. So I'll try to show it for us when we get to Excel. So if I write the name of a cell, C1, let me just use this example that is here. I say BC multiplied by B5. So I'm doing BC multiplied by B5. Let's say I'm doing it in D. I'm doing it in a cell D. Let's say D2. So if I copy the formula, I'm using relative cell referencing now. If I copy the formula and I move to the next row, the next row is going to change the formula to B7 multiplied by B6. The reason why it's changing it, the next row, remember the next row is plus 1, right? So it is going to, because it is relative, I have moved to the next cell, I mean to the next row. So it's going to say, okay, you have moved plus 1, so the formulas are also going to be what? Plus 1. So it's going to do B7 multiplied by B6. So if I move to the next row again, you say, okay, I understand what you are trying to do now. So let's do B8 multiplied by B7. So that way we can even get, that's like, we're already doing cumulative frequency for those that know statistics table. So you see that you're already a statistician. Don't worry, data analyst is coming before the end of this class. Capital data analysis. Okay, so that is what we mean by relative cell referencing. And how do we write relative cell referencing? We avoid the dollar sign. We call the cell by their name. That way, they are relative to their neighbors. Do you understand? But when we start putting dollar sign, we are making them absolute. We are not relating them with their neighbors. We know where they are. We are not asking anybody about them. We are going there straight. And an absolute cell reference does not change the reference cell when dragged down to fill or when copied to another cell. It remains the same. The same B2 that is specified is the same B2 that is going to be, even if you copy it to like the 100 cell, because you have specified the dollar sign, it is going to remain the same. So I say if you choose C6 as an absolute cell reference, the C6 will be constant throughout the cell. We use a dollar sign before the row or after the column or both for an absolute cell reference. So look at an example here. The value of A1 will return A1 even when we go to AAC 1200 cell, it will still return A1. It is not relative to wherever we are dragging it from or wherever we are copying it from. And we are going to be seeing this. Then the last one is mixed referencing. So remember what absolute does. Absolute keeps it constant. And we specify the dollar sign for the row and we specify the dollar sign for the column. What mix does is that it takes both together. I can decide to keep the row constant and make the column flexible, like relative. So if I'm keeping the row constant, I'll attach the dollar sign. Now I want to ask a very direct question. This is not like to test us, but to like boost our intelligence, like make us catch up with where you are coming from. So if I want to like do I want to keep the row constant and I want to make the column relative. Which one am I going to give the dollar sign to? Is it the number or the alphabet? Remember, I want to keep the row constant and I want to keep the column relative. Which one will I give the dollar sign? Is it the number or the alphabet? Number. Number, so that number is correct. You want to keep the row constant because the row is actually the one that has the number. So once you give the number the dollar sign, the row will remain constant and then the column will be relative. So if you want to do vice versa, you give the alphabet the dollar sign, you give the number you keep the number relative. That way you are going to be keeping the column constant and the row will be relative. So that is mixed cell referencing, and we are going to be looking at that too. So essential formula for data analytics. So in Microsoft Excel, remember why we had to learn cell referencing? It's so that we can apply them in the formulas. and now we are going to learn about the formulas. So there's basic formulas, like there's formulas for normal manipulation, and then there's formula for advanced statistics. So we are just going to be looking at the formulas that are basic yet. So in subsequent classes, we can look at more advanced formulas so that we take it step by step. Microsoft Excel can be used for task automation and calculation. Pardon my writing, yet. And creating formulas and creating formula is the bedrock of this interesting feature, where like creating formula is the foundation of task automation in Microsoft Excel. Here, we will learn how to create valid formulas in Excel. Excel, every formula in Excel begin with an equal to sign. We have to note that, followed by a bracket. So whatever expression that we want to write, we make sure we keep it inside the bracket. So the best way to write a formula in Excel is to actually write it the way it's showing on the screen, equal to open bracket 10 multiplied by 20 close bracket. So that way Excel will not take it as a string or as a text or as a value. It's going to take it as a formula, and this formula is going to return 200. So like the value is going to be 200. We can apply cell referencing when creating formula. If we have the value in another cell already, yeah. Okay, so if you already have this, like for instance, we already have the 10 in cell B2, and we already have 20 in cell B4. I don't really have to specify 10 times 20. I will just say equal to open bracket B2 multiplied by B4. Then you see it will automatically give me 200. It will not give me what I've written, and that is why we have cell referencing. So that when I copy that B2 multiplied by B4 to the next row, it's going to do for me the value that is in the next row. So that is how that's how cell referencing works. And we are looking at the basic formulas that you can use for data analytics. So give me a minute.
Me too.
Learn a little bit about we learned a little bit about formulas in Excel. Like I told us where you can see the formulas and where you can find them. Like there's a whole lot of formulas in Microsoft Excel, and we don't have to cram everything. Even if I share a PDF to us, we just get to read like the first 20 and we get bored with it. So, but Excel has made it that there are predefined formulas in Excel, and to find them, we just go to the Excel tab named Formula at the top. So I say you go to the Formula tab, you see Insert Formulas, and then when you see when you click the insert formula, look at this image that is here. That is why I try to put it there for us to see. This this is the dialog box that will pop up. So this insert formulas allows us to select predefined formulas. You can select a category. Like if you want to do a logical, if you need a logical function, these are the logical functions. There is suggested functions. Those ones are the ones that have the simple ones, like the sum, the average, the mean, the median, and the likes. So you just click it. Once you click it, you click OK. It will apply in wherever you want to write. Now, this is not going to write it's not going to apply the formula for you. It's just going to write the criteria to use the formula. So, for instance, let me proceed here. Okay, let me proceed here. Sorry, please. I want to change this. I want to move the slide, but I can't even find it. I can't even find it. Oh, yeah. No, I want to move this slide to the next. So these are the basic formulas that I will be talking about today. So the sum, um, so the sum, what does it do? It performs the mathematical operation of addition and it gives the total of the selected range of cell values. Average, just take note of them. Like after this section, we are going to like do some answers. So we are going to like learn some of them. So the average, it gives the total of the average value within the range. We know what average is. So the count and the count all. The second one that is there is count all. The count does calculation for only numbers, only numeric values that are in the selected range. So if you select a particular range of cells, say from A1 to A20, it will return the count for only the values that are numbers. It will ignore text, it will ignore errors, it will ignore blank and the likes. But count all, which is count A, it counts everything and the text and the numbers and the letters and the names and the blanks counts everything. So the left and the left function and the right function. The left gives the number of characters from the start of a string. So this is what left does. Left will give us, if you enter left for a cell, it will give us the number of the characters. Right? It allows us to select a character from the left. While right allows us to select a character from the right. Like I can select from the back, I can select from the front. We are going to look at that. Like I'm trying to save time so that I have more time on that. So the upper, the proper, and the lower. Upper will change whatever is in your cell to like a capital letter, everything. The proper only changes whatever in the first letter of every word in your cell to capital letter and leave the remainder small letter. Lower changes everything to a lower case. Then round up, this formula rounds the number to a specific number of digits. So the reason why we have there is round and there is round up. Round up, we round it up. It allows you to specify the number of decimal places that you want. Like the number of significant figures that you want. So we have length. The len is for length. It counts the number of words, of symbol or character in a string. So if I have something like happy, and I put happy inside a length function, it will return HAPPY. That's 5, right? So it will return 5 for me, saying that it has 5 characters. Then we have trim. Trim allows us to remove the white spaces that is before and after a string, or yes, a string or a text. Probably you copied from somewhere and you unknowingly copied a white space after your text. At the end, not in the middle. You know, the space in the middle is normal. When you are writing, you write and you put space. But if you have space at the end, it can mess up like the analysis you are trying to do. So if you put trim, if you put that value inside trim, it will trim the white space before it and after it. So it's very useful. So we have subtotal for two. Like some returns the count. So like for every value. Subtotal allows us to specify a selected range of cell. Like if I want to use sum now, I have to like sum the whole column of my table. But if I want to sum like let's say from 15 to 20, and my table is from 1 to 40, I want to do a sum of 15 to 20, I can use subtotal. And this subtotal allows us to, it doesn't just allow us to do total, it allows us to do count, it allows us to do median, it allows us to do average. So we are going to be looking at how to use the subtotal to like, because when you select from 15 to 20 out of your data and you want to get the mean, you can't actually return the value like that ordinarily. So subtotal is very useful in that case. We have the concatenate. Concatenate allows us to join two strings together, or probably you want to put a string in between a string that is not there already. You want to put it inside, like you want to join it with another string. You can use concatenate to join. And then we have replace. Replace allows us to extract a particular string and insert another one there. Like we are going to see all these kind of functions as we move on. The date allows us to convert like a text string into a date format. Like remember our formatting class, we said formatting is very important. So we also have power and square roots. Power allows us to multiply a particular numeric value, like how many times, by the number of times you want to multiply, like 3 raised to power 4, 4 raised to power 6. So we have square roots too. Square root allows us to do what it is. It allows us to find the square root of a particular number. So here now we are going to be doing some practicing with Microsoft Excel. So if you have your Microsoft Excel, this is the point where you open it. Okay. So let us open our Microsoft Excel. Let us use the data that we used yesterday. And if it is needed, we are going to be creating like more data. So I'm going to be opening my Excel right now. Okay, so I'm on the screen. So let me open Excel. Those online, please can you see my screen? I'm trying to open Microsoft Excel. It's not on. Okay. I'm going to be, just allow me to get the Excel first. Like I'm not showing at all, right? Okay. So I want to get data. So I come to data, I get data from workbook, and then loading. I want to use this data. So I import it. So let me import this too. So let's start from cell referencing. Once this is up, I'm not transferring. Sorry about this. So I have this data, and remember what we said about cell referencing? So we said the best way to reference a cell is to click on it. So let's say here, I want to sum up everything that is in this guy, in this column D here. So and I want to get the total. So I can name it total sales, and then right in front of it, I want to input the value for total sales. So I can come here and say total sale. The best practice for starting a formula is using equal to sign, open brackets, closed brackets, and then in the brackets we are able to insert our formula. So best way is to come to this formula bar and edit your formula. That's it. Okay. Yeah, so okay, so I'll just drop the link. I'll drop the link um, so that people can download the data from yesterday. Okay, so now I want to reference this cell. Can you zoom in? Okay. Okay. Okay, let me just put the value right under here. So when you are writing a formula, it is best practice to write your formula inside this formula bar. Like that is what it is meant for. It allows you to see your formula in any length that you want to see it. And if you feel like it is too small, you can always like extend it. I think you can do that right here. Yeah. You can always like extend it so that it is big enough for you to see. So you can write your formula here, and so we start with equal to, we open our bracket and close it. Now we want to reference the cell that has 2000 in it because that is what we want to solve. I said one of the best ways to come and click on it. You see the way when I clicked on it, the moment I clicked on it, you see D2 in the formula bar. I don't have to like know the name of the cell that it is D2 before I get it. And if I want to go to the end, remember like the best way to navigate in Excel, I can control and down. But to select it, I have to hold shift with it. So control shift and down, it will select the O value that is in that cell. I mean that column for me. So you see one, the header of that. Okay, yeah, I did not specify that I want to actually do a sum. I just did table sales. It returned the value that is there exactly for me. So that is not what I want to do. Like you realize that the value that is there is what is there, the value that is there is what is there. Because I did not mention any function. So allow me to control Z and allow me to do this. Go to formulas, do insert function, and then I'm coming to, let me come to here as most recent. I'll pick this sum and then I'll do equal to. Now you can see that it has a range for me saying that do I want to do from sum of D4 to D14. That's not what I want to do. So I'll just erase it and then I'll come and reference myself the way it is here. I select D2, Control Shift plus down. I select the whole of myself and I press OK. Now this way it returns the value of the addition of all the columns in sales for me. And what I just did now is relative referencing. You realize that when I was doing D2, I did not put dollar sign. Did you get it? I did not put dollar sign. So in that case, if I have another, let me say I have another product here and it is 9,000 and I put it, my formula has not, you see the value has increased. Like you see the value has increased. Like automatically, that's because it is relative with the neighbor that it has. Like that. Suppose I put dollar sign, it will just be reduced to that value where I stopped in the first place. So that is the essence of using absolute referencing and relative referencing. So let us try something else. Let us try average. So you can come here. So another thing is that if you know what you want to do actually, Excel has this autocomplete function that helps you to autocomplete your formula. So you can type it equal to, open the brackets, go inside the brackets. This will tell me that what I'm doing is not allowed. Okay. So in the brackets, I want to do average. So I can do AV. You can see that it's suggesting some things for me. It's saying average deviation, average all, average ifs, and the likes. But what I want to do is just ordinary average. So I come down to average and I press tab. So it auto completes it for me. Now the average of what? I want to do the average of the ratings. So I don't have to like know the whole name of the rating cell. I come to the first one and I can highlight, like click and drag to the last one. You see that clicking and dragging is kind of stressful, but sometimes it is the best. So once I do that, it specifies my cell range for me. And when I press enter, sorry, the formula is missing an open or closing parenthesis. Yeah, it is missing a closing parenthesis. That is because this one is opening, this one is opening. There's one close. I have to specify one more close parenthesis. So one more bracket, and then the average rating is 0.5424. I hope we are clear with that. So let us quickly look at some more of our formulas. So this is what I want to do now. I want to have I want to do the trim. So here I'm going to write a string in this G3. So I'll be starting my string with, so I want to do something like column space space, then write happy, then column. Okay, yeah, that's happy. So if I do equal to, okay, let me just take this like now we realize that this happy that is here, it has space in front of it, right? Like it has two spaces in front of it. There's one, there's two space. So you can actually trim the space in front of happy. So let me come here and trim the space. So I can say equal to trim, and then I specify the cell. Remember best practice to specify cell, just click on it and press enter. Now you see that this one is having space in front while this one does not have space in front. I do not have to like look through and stress myself to remove the space. This is like a best practice when you get data from the internet or you get data from copy and paste. Like part of the data cleaning process is actually to trim the data because you don't know if you have copied space or you don't know if you have not. So you cannot be sure. Just trim it, nothing is going to change. Only the spaces in front and the one in the back that will be removed. So what other stuff was there? We have trim, we have, okay, let's do count. So we have count too. So I want to count the number of, yeah. So I want to count the number of, let's say, items that was sold. So I can say equal to count. So I press tab to complete it. I can then I can come to number of items that was sold. Then I can select all. I press enter. Take me there. Where is it? Where is this count? Okay, it is there. So it's saying it is 76. So 76 items were sold. So that is how to like use the basic Excel formulas. Which formula have we not used that was mentioned on the screen? Anybody can remind us? Length, right? So let's try length for this beep short. So let us do beep short length. So we can say is equal to length. Remember that is what it is. And then you can come here and click beep short. So you can click beep short and do this. So you're seeing the number of characters there is 10. And let us try relative referencing for for that. So if you want to try relative referencing for that, remember that we said C4. So if I click and drag this down, I should, the C4 up here, when it comes here to change to C5, like I explained, right? So we see that here. So what is after beep short is actually short, which is 6. So I can continue like that, and I have tight, which is also 6. Can continue like that till I exhaust the list, and it will return all the length without me like repeating the formula. Now let us look at the case of absolute. Let us do it here. So we want to do length is equal to length, then let's say absolute C4, absolute C, absolute 4, and then let's close it. This is correct. Like this is a cell reference. It gives us 10, but it is not relative, meaning that if I fill it, you see that it is still returning what? The 10. It is not concerning itself with its neighbor. I know myself. I can go on and on like that. So that is what that absolute reference is telling us. Now let us look at mixed referencing. So allow me to do this. So mixed referencing, what I want to do now is that I want to keep the column, I want to keep it constant. So it means that when I come here, I can give C the dollar. It means that I'm doing for sales. I mean, I'm doing for only products. Then I want to make the four relative. Now, you know that it's the row that is relative now. Four is relative. So even if I drag it, the row should still be relative. So let us see what that will happen. Did you see that? Like, I kept the column constant. C does not do, C is constant. If I drag it to the right, it will still be 10. Do you get it? Because 10 is constant. I kept C constant. But if I bring it down, because the 4 is relative, it allows me to like apply my formula down the row. Do we understand? So any other formula that we have not tried? Yeah, I think I have one here. I think we have concatenate. So let us do concatenate. So let me delete this one. So yeah, I want to join this component and this chain together. Like I want to form a sentence. Join component and chain together. So I want to say component is chain. So I'm bringing component from category and I'm bringing chain from product. And I want to put is in the middle. So allow me to like delete all these guys. Sorry. So I want to write that here so I can come here and say is equal to concatenate, which is the same thing as concat. The same thing as concat. So I can specify this category and say colon is. Okay, let me put comma here. Yeah, comma is like the standard separation of cells or values when you are writing a formula. So yeah, we are going to learn that. So I specified C2, comma, I want to put is. Is is actually a string, so I have to put it in a quotation because it is not representing a formula, it is a string. So I have to put it in a quotation like this. Then I have to put comma again, and then I have to put another value which is chain. Then this should work fine. I'm sorry, I'm not going to much. So let's do that. So now you can see that it just joined everything together, no space. So what I have to do is that I have to go and put space. So I can actually apply the space here, here. So I'll just put one space before is and one space after is. So that will fix it. So component is chain. So we can actually, since our specification is relative, we can get the sentence for like the whole guys and say, so we get to say that clothing is socks, clothing is brief shorts, clothing is socks, component is handlebar, and like that. And like, so that's what concatenation is. I think there's another one that, which one? This one or this one? Which one should I enlarge? The screen? Okay, the concatenate. Yeah, so when I shared my slide, let me just see if I can make it bigger. I'm not getting bigger. I think I messed up. I think I messed it up. So I thought I'll be able to change the font size from there, but it's not going to change. But let me just do this. Okay, it's not allowing me to do that too. Let me just do this then. So that's not getting bigger. Like the cell, this formula bar is not getting bigger. Like this whole stuff is getting bigger. Except I want to zoom like the whole Excel. So what it's there is just concat, like concatenate works, but I guess they've shortened it to concat. And then we have table, like this table now, and product. We can specify it as a range and say D1 or D2 to D76. That is the value that is there. But because Excel, our table has heading, and Excel knows that you have selected all the value in the table. So it's just saying, okay, you have selected all the value under category. And that is why we have table one at category. It is not me that typed it, you get Excel that knows that, oh, this guy has selected all the values under category, so it just write it like that. But if you are specifying, just specify it as D2 to D76 or wherever. So whatever it understands is going to get it. So this is actually that's what concatenate is. So let's move on. Let's move on. I've used almost 1 hour. So let's look at data manipulation in Microsoft Excel. We are not leaving the formulas yet. We are still going to be using formulas to do data manipulation, but we have to look at data manipulation in Microsoft Excel. So allow me to go back to my slide. I will just bring it up now and say, the guys online, please, can you see that I'm back on the slide? How is it going? It's still Excel, right? Okay, so I'll just have to do few. I guess it's because I'm in slide view. That is why it's still showing me. Just showing me Excel. So allow me to do this very quickly. Is it showing PowerPoint now? So I can then move to next slide. So these are some like more formulas, but these formulas specifically they are used for data manipulation. Like they are used for data manipulation. The first one is substitute, like replace. You can also use substitute, but yeah, this is serious stuff. I'm not seeing presentation mode. Abi. What about now? What about now? Still, how about now? Ah, this is serious. It's still showing the previous slide. That's how it is showing. Yeah, that's because I'm sharing the entire screen. Okay, I know the problem. Let me just go back. So, yeah, we should be good now. Okay. So we have substitute, we have search and find, we have clean, we have need. I'll just explain this very briefly. This does some of the stuff that I've explained before. Like substitute and replace, they do the same thing. But the reason why substitute is preferred for data analysis is because we can specify substitute multiple times. And now let me explain what substitute does. If I have the bag is yellow and I want to replace yellow with blue, I can use substitute to replace yellow with blue. So if I use substitute to replace yellow with blue, substitute can replace like 4 5 words at once, but replace can only replace one word at once. I don't know if I communicate there. So if I'm using replace, I can only replace yellow to blue. In a case where I want to replace bag with shoe and also replace yellow with blue, I'll have to use substitute. So probably you get a data and you see the data and you want to realize that what you want to replace is more than one. You know the options to go for. You go for substitute. So we are going to look at how these things are being done. We have search or find. Search or find are both used to return the position of a string um, or a substring within a text. So I can actually search for, like from that my word, the bag is blue. I can search for blue. It's going to return the position of blue, but it's going to return the starting position of that blue, which is for letter B. And if I know that search or find will return the position of the letter B, I can use the position to manipulate the text. Remember, okay, we get there, that is what we do with mid. Mid simply stand for middle. But before I go to mid, I want to tell us the difference between search and find. Search, we actually do, search does not care about case sensitivity, whether it is capital letter or small letter. Search finds everything. But find, I think I'm correct. Search is not case sensitive, yes, but find is case sensitive. Find we actually look for the way you write it. If you write capital letter B, find we look for capital letter B. But if you just write B, search can do capital letter and small letter. So that is why search is often preferred over find. Then we have the claim. How many of us have ever copied data from the internet and you realize that you see something like a enter sign? You know, when we press enter, we don't see it. But when you copy something from the internet, you realize that you see the enter. Yeah. So if you want to remove that kind of character from what you have copied in Excel, just put the cell inside this claim. It does not remove only that kind of character. You know, you can't type it on your keyboard too. Not to say, okay, remove or replace this character with space. You can't type it on your keyboard. Just put the whole character inside this claim function, and then it will remove all those characters are called ASCII control characters, and it will remove them for us. So the mid actually, like I said, I'm coming back to it. We remember that left we return the we allow us to return values from the left to the right. Right will allow us to return values from right to the left. Mid will allow us to start from the middle and return the number of values that we want. And we are going to see that very quickly. But before that, these are some other stuff that we use for data manipulation. Um, Text to column, like all these other data manipulation and cleaning tools can be found on the Excel ribbons. Like all these that I mentioned here, you don't have to write them as formulas. You can just click them and it will happen. So they can be found in the Excel ribbon, or we can create more advanced data cleaning process with Visual Basis for application in Microsoft Excel. There's an advanced function that is called VBAs in Excel. You can write your conditions, like your code, and save it there. So whenever you like, that's like how to write a custom formula. So if you want to write like a custom formula, you use the VBA. So you write your code, save it there, give it a name. So whenever you want to use it, just type the name, come out. The same way sum came, average came. The name of your custom formula will also come. So this is used especially when people are trying to clean data from HTML, and you know when you scrape your website and you scraped all the HTML and the CSS from the website, it's very dirty. Or when you scrape Twitter, you see all the hashtags and the art sign and all the emojis. You collect everything together with it. When you want to clean that kind of data, like you might need a special function to look for some special cases that Excel has not considered. So that is where you use VBA. So we focus on like the ones that we can see on the Excel reading. Text to column, we are going to be looking at that. Like I have a data that allows us to practice text to column. Like it has a text. You can separate it into different columns. For example, the bag is blue. I can say I want to specify this text based on the spaces. Like I want D to be in a cell, in a column, bag to be in a column, is to be in a column. So I can do that with text to column. We also have flash fill. Flash fill will allow you to like look at fill your data in a flash. If you remember the way I just clicked and drag, that's cell referencing, right? When I click and drag and spread it, if it were to be that I was getting my data from a pre-existing data, say probably what I'm doing is that my name is Olamide and my last name is Shubamu, and I want to write my email. My email is the next thing in the column, and I write Olamide Shubamu probably at DSN AI. I write it for myself. I write it for my colleague. And what's your name, please? Miriam. So let's say Miriam at DSN AI. Then I have another person, say Daniel. Flashview can predict that I have been following my first name and my last name at DSN AI. So it will automatically suggest for the next person that the first name that is already in Excel, this last name that's already in Excel, I'm bringing them together and I'm putting at DSN AI at the back. You get? So it can do it for all the column. That is flash view. I don't need to click and drag. I don't need to like copy and paste. The only thing is that it will suggest it to me. You are doing this. Press enter. I can press enter. That is flash view. And if it is not suggesting it, I can press Ctrl E. Or it is on the ribbon, like I said, just go there, click flash view, and it will automatically study the pattern that is there and flash fill it for you. Removing duplicates. Excel allows you to remove duplicates in your work by just clicking the remove duplicates function on the ribbon. And then we have consolidate. Consolidate is like the word for streaming. Excel allows you to stream data, like from one table to another. Like you have different tables, and you are using data from them, from those different tables in a particular worksheet. Excel allows you to like stream the data, even if they are changing respectively. Like maybe they are formula data and they are changing. The way they are changing, Excel will be collecting them with this consolidate function. So the next thing is for us to like go and practice this our data manipulation and data cleaning task. But before that, I would like us to look at pivot tables so that when we go, we don't have to come back to the slides. This is just like two more slides, and am I sure it's two more slides? Yeah, this is okay. This is just like two or three more slides, and then we are done. So in Excel, pivot table is very, very, very important. Like, I don't know, this is like the best way of summarizing your table. If you download a very big table and you want to summarize it into a smaller table that you can easily like visualize, understand, and get, you can use pivot table. That is the reason why it's called pivot table. You can pivot the important things and hide the ones that are not important. And when you need the ones that you considered not important, you can pivot the ones that you have pivoted before and pivot the ones that that is what it is in Excel. So pivot table is a form of table that summarize a bigger spreadsheet into a simple and easy way to understand. It allows us to pin out information we are interested in with just like 5 or 6 clicks. You have pivoted your table, provided you have a big data set in an Excel worksheet. So here is the step-by-step way on how to pivot your data. Go to Insert tab. You see pivot table as if you want to insert a table. That is actually what it is. So you click on Insert, you click on Pivot table. Under Pivot table, a, a dialog box will pop out. That dialog box is saying create a pivot table. So Excel allows you to create your pivot table either from the entire spreadsheet, or you can select a chunk of that data and create a pivot table with it. So like I said, during subtotal, okay, we did not practice subtotal. I was hoping we would practice subtotal. So we can still do it. So during subtotal, Excel allows us to select a range of our data and do the subtotal. The same way Excel allows us to select a range of our data and do the pivoting, or you can pivot your whole table. So when you select your range and you click OK, then a new spreadsheet will pop out. This spreadsheet has this pane beside it, pivot table field. If you remember all these year, category, product, sales, and rating, they are from our data we're practicing with, right? So those are columns. So Excel will categorize those columns like this. Excel will now ask you that which one do you want to use as your row? Which one do you want to use as your column? What kind of pivoting do you want to do? So that is where we have these four fields. The first one there is filter. So filter allows you to like hide some things. You know, I told you that you can pivot, select the ones that are important to you and hide the ones that you are not interested in yet. Say I only want to filter for category. I want to filter by category. Remember under category we have components, we have clothing, we have accessories. So like that, I can filter by category, meaning that I can choose to see components now, and then every other thing will be, I will not even see them at all. So the columns allow us to specify how many, which column. You can actually specify any of the columns here. Allows you to specify what you want to see in the column. The row is still the rows, and the value is the calculation. So I have that right here. So this is what a pivot table looks like. And then the row is like the calculation that, and the values is like the calculations that happens. The common calculation is the sum and the count. That's the default. But you can always change it. And if you want to change it, that is where I have other calculations here. We say we can specify other types of calculation apart from sum and sort. I mean sum and count. Click on any of the cell that is under the value, and then when you right click it, you see value field setting. If you look at this table now, this is a summarized table of that 76 row spreadsheet that we have been working with. So here I've categorized it by component, and you can see that what I'm viewing now is clothing, and all the data that is there is about clothes, and I can see the sum of their sales. So all the bib shots that has been sold, they worth 7,600. All the caps that has been sold, they worth 1,500. And then it further went ahead to do a sum of the grand total for me. And that is that about pivot table. We are going to like create a pivot table before we go to data cleaning in Excel. So I want us to like open this link. Yes, this is open this link. So I'm going to, if you can take a picture of this page and take a picture of it, because when we want to do subtotal, we are going to be needing this average count all marks when we are doing subtotal. So if you can take a picture of it. So this is where the data will be using today. This is where it is. Bitly, you can go ahead and download it. I already have it downloaded on my computer. 3D, big E, big N, big R, F, and 2. So that is where the data is. So after here now, we are going to be focusing on data manipulation and data cleaning and creating pivot tables. So let's go to Excel and let's practice subtotals. Let's go to Excel first. Yeah, so we are back in this entry here so that we can do our one thing as we try to create this subtotal. When you input your formula equal to subtotal, you realize that there's int in front of the formula. Says return the subtotal in a list or a database. So I press tab. Now it's telling me that function number first, and then reference, then this three dots is reference two. So in case you forget how to write the formula, Excel like it has this way of reminding us. Like, okay, you have selected subtotal. The first thing that you should give me is the function number. So the function number is the one I told us to take note. The first one there is average. Number two is count. Am I correct? Number three is from the last table I showed on the screen. Like okay, I have average one. Then if you want to select for all, because there's one row that have for non-empty list, and then the one that have for empty list. Like you want to select the count and count the one that is not empty. But we are focusing on the first one. So for the first one is average, and the value there is one. So I can actually say my function number is one. If you don't have that table, you will not know the reason why I'm putting one. I'm putting one because I want to do average. I hope we are clear. So I put comma and I have reference one. Now reference one is the reason why it's not saying range is because I can start from anywhere. I can do a subtotal from here and then put a range and say it's not D2 I want it to like D13, not all the data. So I have it here. So this is like, I think this is the average, right? This is like the average of from 2 to 13. I did not consider my whole data. And you realize that I did not even have to like do it under or select everything. I'm only focusing on from number 2 to number 13, which is like from number 1 to 12. And I'm doing a series 1 to 2. You realize that our answer is going to change. So we have this. And that is telling me count, right? 2 is count. So it is returning 12 because I've actually did from 1 to 12. Suppose I have a text data. Now let me change this to text. With this 36,000, let us just do 36. CHIR 36. Let's do it this way. Let's do 36K. Is this how we spell K? 36K. K, oh, just K. Okay, thank you. Yeah, 36K. Let's leave it like that. Now let's run. You see that it has reduced to 11. That is because we used like relative referencing. Normally it's supposed to be 12. Like our value here is supposed to be 12. But because this is no longer a number, like I said, count only returns numeric value. But if I want it to return the text and the numeric value, I do count all. And count all is 3. So I come here, I change this 2 to 3. That's why we have function number. So 3, it gives me back 12. Because count all, we count the numeric and the non-numeric. So that is that. Let's change this back to 36. Yes. Okay. Okay. I'll just I'll just call it because I don't want to go back. So the link to the data again, for the data that we are going to be using today, um, I want to call it. So it is actually bit.ly bit.ly forward slash 3 small v big E, that's capital E, capital M for mango, capital R, capital F, and 2. Yeah, 2. So for the people online, I'm going to be dropping the link to the data. So um, I'm started drawing online. Okay, I guess I can just drop it here. So I'm trying to drop the linked data for the people online. Yes, CSV. Yes, it's CSV. Like now, like yesterday we imported a XLX file. Today we want to import another type of file supported by Excel CSV. So when once we get to that get data, import, we see import t text slash CSV. So it's that one that we click, not import from workbook. This is like, so if you click import from workbook, it's expecting a workbook file, but instead you click tsv slash csv. So it is important for us to know like the type of data that we are importing, if Excel supports it at all, and if it supports it, we know the options like use. So so we are back here. Okay, I should go to the link. Let me put the link here so that people will just, I dropped it in the chat.
Okay.
I don't know what this is now. So people can, so that is the link for, yeah, I think we ran through subtotals too. So one thing that is important about subtotal is that know the number of the function, like the function you are trying to run, and you specify the range that will allow us to do subtotal. So if you have downloaded the link, just let me know. If you are online, you have downloaded the data. So it is a CSV data. CSV stands for comma separated value. So so that we are going to be practicing data cleaning and manipulation, right? So that we can see, and we are going to be creating pivot tables with the same data. So I want to load my data now because of time. So this is what I was saying the other time. Just come to data, get data. So this text slash CSV, you can just click it, or you come to get data from file. This second option, because the data type is .csv, so we get the .csv file. And I have this file in my desktop. So I have it on desktop. Where did I keep this file? I think I have to download it. So I think I have. Really interesting that I don't have it. So just allow me to download it too. So I want to get data because it's in my download now from file CSV and downloads. So I have it here. And it is here. Yep. So I can load it. Okay. So does our data look like this? Is this the kind of stuff we have? So we can see that this is really looking unfriendly. kind of. Like, but if you look at it very well, you will notice some things there. Everything is separated by comma. Like we have text, comma, sentiment, comma, and this is only in one column. All this data is in one column, like this. So if I move to column B, you see how it is empty.
Excuse me. I think on the group they are saying you didn't share your screen or something. Can you tell screen?
Yeah. Okay. So I will just share again. Thank you for the observation. So if you are seeing my screen now, this is the kind of data that you would download. So this data, everything is modeled up in one column. And in this column now, like if you go to the next column, it is empty from the formula bar. You see that it is empty. Like if you scroll down, you see that it is empty. But you realize that there is a consistent pattern in this data: text, sentiment, score, date, time, user ID, location, confidence score. When you come down also, you see I love this product, comma, positive, comma, Twitter, comma, date time like 2023 6/15. So it follows the pattern of what is up. Like, okay, under text, there should be I love this product. Under sentiment, we should have positive. Under source, we should have Twitter. Under date time, we should have 2023 06/15, and like that. This data is actually a customer, like a customer feedback data. So perhaps like you are the one that they hired to like do their customer analysis, customer sentiment analysis for them, and then when you get your file from wherever they have collected it. In fact, this is like a cleaned file. They have cleaned this file actually. Because if somebody gets this kind of customer feedback from Twitter, you and I will agree that you cannot collect data from Twitter and it will fall like this. It will come with all the handle of the person that is tweeting. If the person is tweeting from iPhone, the person is using emoji, you understand all those things are called dirty data. Like you just have to clean the data with the few things that you have learned, and like this is a semi cleaned data, so we are going to be looking at it. So here what we will do is that we are going to use text column because this is actually a text. Everything is in one cell from A to Z. I think this contains 98, that is like 97 entries. So we are going to be, I'll select all of it. I'll select all of it, and then I'll come to data. I said text to column can actually be found in the ribbon. There's no formula for it. Actually, there's formula for it, but Excel has put it in the ribbon, so why should we stress ourselves? So I just come here and I click on text to column. So here, once I click text column, this pops up. There's something called delimited. Like it's telling me that delimited means this data, every entry is limited by something. Do you agree with it? Yes. Like I have that my text is limited by comma, my sentiment is limited by comma, my date time is limited by comma. So anything above that comma is no longer date time. You agree? But if I don't agree with it, probably the first 10 words is my first column. The next 10 words or the next 10 alphabets or character is my next column. I will not pick the limited. I'll pick fixed width because I know I want to do some calculations to get the column. But now that I know that my data is limited by a comma, I'll leave it on delimited. Otherwise, you have to like look at the data, count the characters. Okay, so probably it's phone number. So you have phone number, and then somebody has attached, let's say, phone number and username. They have attached it together, and you know that the first 11 entries is the phone number. So and the person did not put comma or something. You just click fixed width. So it allows you to specify. Let's just say, okay, it did not change actually. But when you click next, you see that it allows you to specify the number of characters before what you want to extract. So this delimited, you go with it. So it's saying what is the delimiter? The delimiter in our case is comma. You can see all the options that is here. Is it limited by tab? Is it limited by semicolon? Is it limited by comma? Is it limited by space? If you click others, it asks you, is it limited by, it could be hyphen, it could be equal to, it could be any other sign you get that is not mentioned. You have to put it custom. But since comma is here, you go with comma. So it is not limited by tab. I will check it. I will check it. It is limited by comma. And look at the advantage that is there. You can check as many limitations that, or as many limiters that are in your data. Probably the first two columns are separated by comma, and the next one is separated by. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, let me just zoom in. Let me just zoom in. The thing is that some of the resources will be shared with us, so
That's closer.
yeah, I have to start again. This is good. This is good, right? So let's come to data again. I've selected my column, text to column, and then I'm using delimited. So I'll click this. My data is limited by a comma. You can see from this space already that it has already separated it for us. Like we have text, sentiment, source. It's telling us that this is what you get. This is how it will look like. And then I click next to say that I'm okay with it. So before this, I was trying to say that we can specify two or more limited, like two or more limitations. So if it has comma and semicolon, so we can pick the two to just look through it and separate our data in that order. So we can go to next and then for the okay, okay, text qualifier. This is like asterisk. So I've not actually explored this before, but I don't think it will have any effect here. And another thing that I know asterisk will be used for is probably a white card. So a white card will specify that this is a text. Like probably when you do like um, asterisk probably specify a white card, and a white card can mean any character that falls under A to Z, 0 to 9, minus to plus. I don't know if you understand what I mean. All the symbols, all the alphabet, and all the numbers you get. That's what the white card means. So if all this text falls under a white card, then they are text. That is what that text qualifier will probably mean, but it's not something that I've explored before. So I go to next, and then he said, "Is it?" Yeah, the text is only comma. Yeah, we are choosing only comma. We are choosing only comma. Then here we leave our text as general. This one is already allowing us to select column format. You know, formatting, because formatting is very important. Under general, it's saying you have this general is highlighted, that's why it's black. It's saying general it's text like this general. You can come here, highlight this sentiment. If you feel like sentiment is not general, you specify the format here. But I will not specify it in this tab. I'll leave it until I input my data into Excel before I specify it. So I'll just go to next or finish. So my data has been separated. Allow me to zoom out a bit, and then we have text in this first column. Now it's now looking more table. So we have this, and then we have confidence score. So this first one, I can just delete this first column. Now, because I know that this data has been probably they got it from the internet or I downloaded it, right? So I can remove space, like the white space. I told you that it's like best practice to trim your data. So it's best practice to trim your data. So this is what I would do. I will just try to trim all this data. So remember, trim, I can come to this first entry here. I'll start with, yeah, let me just open, I can actually come here. Let me come here. Because I want to write the formula now, and I don't want to write it on top of the data that is existing before. So I just want to come here and say is equal to trim. Now I'm starting on I. I want to select my data range. So I can come to this first guy. You know, we say best way to do cell referencing is actually clicking on it. So I click on the first guy, A1. So if you want to go to the end of your data range, who will remind us from the navigations that we learned yesterday?
Control Shift Enter.
Control Shift and End. So instead of me scrolling and dragging my mouse, I'll just do Control Shift and End. Okay, that's it. So that automatically does it for me. Just highlight all the data. So my range is A1 to G100, and then I can put a closing parenthesis. So I put enter. You see, this is the new data that does not have space in front of it and behind it. This one is the one that I was using before. Another way to do this, okay, let's just work with this. So because I want to remove duplicates, the formula is actually trim. Okay, trim. Then you have to trim. Then we have to specify our data range, and we specified our data range using. Let me do Control Z. So we went to the very first beginning of the range. So let me come here. Let's do it again. Trim, open brackets. Then I come to the, instead of me to write A1, like I don't want to write A1 because it is best practice that I just click the cell. Just go there and click it. So when you click it, it will automatically put the A1. If you look at the formula bar, you see that A1 is there now. So I want to go to the end of my data, like the range, the ending range of my data. I just press Control Shift and End. That's it. It just takes me to G100. In fact, I did not know this data ends at G100. It's telling me that you see all these three spaces that are blank, there's nothing there. This means that probably there is space and I did not know. That's why it's like it captured it. So by the time I trim it, the spaces will go away. So I press so, and then this will happen. Okay, they are still there. They might mean something and they might not mean anything. So this is our data that does not have space. So let's just work with them. So I have the first one on I have the next one on sentiment, I have this one on this, I have this one on that. So as analysts, remember, like the first rule is that have a copy of your original data in case like something happens and something happens. And that is the reason why we import. Now everything I'm doing now, the name of my workbook is book 2. You see, the name of my workbook here is book 2. The name of the file I downloaded is AI Everyday Day 2. So I've not touched that file I downloaded. It is still in my download folder. What I'm working with now is a copy of it. So that's like the first rule as analyst. Any data that you get, like try to make a copy of it before you work on it. Because when you go wrong, you can always go back to the original. Unlike when the original is no longer there. Then, like when you are doing um, data manipulation or data cleaning, is like removing duplicates, removing white spaces. Yeah, have a copy of your data. Yeah, that is one thing that we did. Like we import the data, we did not open it. You understood? Like we download the data, we could have just double click on it and open it. That's what it did. So it means that I don't have a copy of your data. Yeah. So it means that if anything happens now, probably your work delete and probably your laptop will get off, and you hope that probably it was to save, and you on it and you realize that it's no longer there. You have to like, even if the person is like your oga, you have to call the person that, hello sir, that data that I sent yesterday, I can't find it again. And you know, it looks so unprofessional that those kind of things happen. So that's why it is like the best practice to have a copy of your data. You have like 3 files. Yes. 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 To import in different sheets. Yeah, to import in different sheets. Like you still have your document, and then you can always export as separate sheets too. So that is. So one thing that I want to do now is that I want to remove duplicates. It is also here in this place, remove duplicate. In the ribbon option, I can highlight all and select all and remove duplicates. It will remove any data that is repeated. I don't have to go through it one by one. But for the sake of this class, I want to use formula. And then I want to also do something that we learned yesterday, which is cross-referencing. People that are online, please stay with us. Uh, please stay with us. If you have any question, drop it, and your question will be picked up. Your question will be passed across to us, and then I will try to do justice to the questions. So yeah, we want to select unique entries. So I want to select them. But you see this my worksheet is already modeled up. I have one data here, it's no longer interesting. So I want to select it and put it in another sheet. This sheet is probably empty. So I can actually call upon any data from here and have it here. And the data that I want to call are the ones that are not duplicated, they are unique. So I'm going to use the unique function. And the unique function goes like is equal to unique. Unique means it is not repeated. Unique from where?
Sheets the AI edit.
Yes, unique from sheet AI edit 2, right? So we have to, there's space in between it now, so we have to put a column. I actually don't like space. I would rather rename my sheet and remove the space than use the quotation. But for learning sake, let us put the quotation. So we have AI space edit 2, then we have quotation, then we have exclamation. That's it's AI, it's not A1, AI. AI, the name of the sheet one I want to get the data from. Let's use double. Like double is the standard so that we don't get error. But if you use the single, I don't know if Excel is sensitive to quotations, but I know that Python is not sensitive. If you use single quotation or double quotation, you mean the same thing. But some other platforms are sensitive to single and double. So we have that, and then we specify the range of our cell.
Excuse me. My Excel doesn't have unique.
Yes, it doesn't have unique. It does not bring it. So people that are using probably older versions, we have. So you just use the remove duplicates. Just highlight the whole space. When you remove the duplicate, you can copy it to the next sheet. But Excel now have unique that allows us to do the unique stuff. So I want to select from I. Now you ask me why I will explain later. I2 to, I don't know the range now. Please allow me to go back and check the range. I want to select from I to this I. This is even okay. I1 from I1 to the range of it now is going to be control N, and that is probably 0 100. Go back here, sheet 2. You see, it has already given me like the formula, but I want to put it by myself. I'll just clear it. So I'll say I1 to 0 100. Are we together on this?
Yes.
Do we agree that this formula is correct? So let's try it. Let's see if it's going to give us the unique value. So we have unique, the name of the sheet, A1 ED2 exclamation mark I1 to I100. So it's saying there's a problem, quotation, and then we have I1, I100. Okay. Let me just go back to this and put single quotation and see what will happen. Yeah. So you see why I say some platforms are sensitive to single and double quotation. It means that Excel is sensitive to single and double. Single does not mean double. We want me to use single quotation. So, like my brother asked, like a very good question. It's going to be single quotation to quote like the cell. So it returned all the cell for us from this sheet to this sheet. Now remember in this sheet we have 97 here. So I just control end. So when I go to control end, it brought me here. Using yes, unique. Yeah, just control end. You know our data range has expanded now. Like we have another data now. So our new range is the one that we have now. So even if you use control end, you just go to the one that we have now. Control plus end. That is it comes to this one. It's 000. 000. Now, the reason why it's 000 in your sheet, it might not be 000. The reason why it's 400 is that remember that we did um, the first thing we did is trimming. Okay. The first thing that we did is trimming. And the result for our trimming, we did it beside our original data. Our original data before stopped at G100. So when we did trimming now, we put our result beside the original data. So our new range has now extended to 0, 100. I don't know if you get it. Just press Ctrl End. You will see the end of your data range. You press Ctrl End, it will take you to the end. So you just use the name box to check what number is there. If you use the name box to check what number is there, we still have to like create pivot table. That so I would like to just move fast because time is not, you know. So we have been able to remove duplicate. Let's see how many entries we have now. We have 76. When originally we have 97. It means that there's a lot of duplicates in our data. So and then we have been able to like remove duplicates. So one more thing we can do is that we realize that this time it is seeing it as it's not seeing it as date and time or something, it's seeing it as general. Meanwhile, date and time is actually a date time value. So we can actually separate. Okay, first thing I'll do is let me come to this one tab. You realize that under here is seeing it as general, while it's supposed to be seeing it as date or time. So one thing that we can do is that we can separate dates and we separate time. Now, what we are going to use here is we'll use the left and the right. Remember, I said left allows us to return data from the beginning to a particular place we want to return it from. So let us, I would insert a new column to this side. So if you come to this place, you right click, you see insert. Where did this guy insert? Okay, let me do that. Please allow me to zoom out. I don't know what it is doing. Okay, now I know why it's not inserted. You know that this our value here now, it is based on a formula that you put. So this is a relative value, like we cannot even edit it because it is banking on a formula. So what we can do is that we select everything. Like take for instance now, if I come to this original sheet and I put here, I put let's say I put another, sorry, I want to okay, this one is also banking on another formula. So that is what happens when we create data on formulas. Like, so let's say here I put UUU. If you see this one, you will see that it will have the UUU because every data that is here is from the other one. And remember, every data that is in this sheet too is from this one. So this one too will have the UUU. So what we want to do is that we don't want to link it with the previous ones again. We only need the value. So we have to like copy the old data and paste only the values. I don't know if you understand. We copy the old data and we paste only the values. So that's what I'll do. I'll select my old data, Control Shift and End. I select my old data, I copy it, and then I come to this paste. In everything is still selected. I don't want to unselect it. I want to replace it. So I come here. I will now paste value. Value. This one, two, three is saying value, and this one is saying value and number format. This is the one I want to use because I have number in my data, and those numbers they have like 2023-06. If I paste only values, it will do 2023 minus 6 minus 14 and give me the answer. I don't know if you understand because no, okay, this is what I'm trying to explain. This is value. If I do paste only value, Excel will do all the addition that is in my work for me and give me the answer. You get, but I don't want it to add 2023 minus 6 plus 40. I don't want that. So I'll do value and number format. So I'll paste this. And now if we select any of these, we realize that it is no longer giving us the formula in the formula bar. It's now giving us the value. Unlike before, when I click anything, it will write is equal to unique something something. But now, let me press Ctrl Z. So Ctrl Z, if I click on this place, let me zoom in. If I click on this, you realize that it's not showing me this movie is amazing. It's showing me that unique AI edu from I1 to 100 because that's where the formula came from. You get. But if it is a value, it's supposed to be showing me this movie is amazing in the formula bar. And that is what we try to correct. So we'll zoom out again. I'll copy the whole data. I come to the very first entry. Control Shift N. I copy the old data, Control C, and then I go to this paste, or you can actually right click. If you right click, you see the paste option, and then I can see paste value, paste formula, paste formatting, and that's not what I want to do. So I'll just come here, like this is my best option. What's it? So I don't know. Something is wrong. My system is not responding. Okay, let me just copy this. So I want to copy again. So I'll just paste value and numbers. So in this case now, yeah, here we select the one that has 1, 2, 3 and percentage, the one in the middle here. So when you select the one in the middle, we realize that now if I click it, it is going to return the value that is inside the cell for me. It means that this is now a value. So freely now I can split my data. I'm running out of time. I really want us to create a pivot table. So here I want to split this. So I want to create a new column. You see, it is insert a column for me. I'm calling this one date, and then sorry, please I apologize. I'm going to very fast. So this is going to be Remember, I'm starting from the left. I want to select only the date. So I come here, let me zoom in. Yeah, I'm zoomed in. So I come here, I click here. I have to count the number of characters that makes the date. So I have 2023, that's 4, hyphen 067, hyphen 8, 15, 9, 10, right? That's 10. So I come here, I say it's equal to, I'm starting from the left. Left, yeah, we can actually put a bracket here too. From left, I want to, if you realize what this left popped up, it says text first. And my text is in the column E. So I'll specify that E, E what? E2. That is where I want to get my data from. So the name of the data I want to get it from E2. That is text, where the data is coming from. So it's now telling me that how many characters do I want to get? We've counted it, we've got 10, right? So I'm getting the first 10 characters from the left, from E2. So I told you we specify, we separate in Excel with comma. So I put 10 here and I close my bracket, two columns. You see that it gave us the date. So this one is only the date. So what do I do here is that I can do a flash fill. If I come to this plus icon, I can double click it, get all the data for me for all the dates that is there. So I want to do the same thing for time. And then for the time, I'll use the middle value. It's actually easy for me to use the right, get it from the right, right? But for us to learn, I want to use the middle value. So I'll create a new column. I'll call this one time. And then I'll say here is equal to middle, which is actually middle, mid. And the middle tells me that which column do I want to get my test from. It's now F2, right? F2. Then I specify it with comma, and then I say it's now saying where do I want to start from, because it's not assuming that I want to start from the left, I want to start from the right. So I have to specify where I want to start from. This is 10. I'm counting the space. I want to start from 11. So I have 11. And actually, I start from 12. Yes, I start from 12. Then it's saying after my start number, how many characters do I want to get? I want to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to get 8 characters. So I do that, I close my parentheses, I press enter. It gets the time for me. So I come here and I quickly do the filling thing. So I have my time now. So one thing I can actually do in Excel, I can delete this guy because I no longer need this guy. So I delete this guy. Yeah, you see what happened there? Because the formula was from the guy I just deleted, I'm supposed to convert it to value first and then delete it. So let's not make that kind of mistake. So this is what I'll do. I'll just copy this guy, copy, and then I'll paste values only, values and number format. So I'll do the same thing for the date too. So I'll copy this guy. Yeah, you guys are really following me. You know the reason why everything just gave reference error. That REF, when you see that error, it is reference error, meaning that I can no longer find your reference. That is what it means. So this guy, okay, I'm here to copy this guy. So I'll just copy it and then I'll say paste guy. So if I delete this guy now, it will disappear and then my data will be normal. So that is how to keep value of
Excuse me. Instead of using the left, right, it's also possible to use flash tree.
flash fill. Yes, like it's saying something that we can actually use the flash fill. Is it flash fill now? Yeah, I think it's flash fill. Yes. So when we write the date for the first one, we already have a column in Excel before. So we write the date for the first one, write the date for the second one, write the date for the third one. Excel will now know that, oh, you are getting your date from this guy. Do you want to get everything from? So we just click yes, or we come to this option here, data. You see here, flash fill on this option. So it just flash fill it for us. So that is another option.
So I think since there's space between the dates and the time, you can use text to the space as the new one.
Yes, another way. Actually, yeah, you just split it by space. So I've mentioned these functions before, so that is how I planned my lesson, like to experiment the functions that we have in Excel with the data that I got. That is why we are doing it in left, middle, right. So one more thing is that if you look at this date now, is in formatting is general. The formatting has to be in date. So just click the column, come to general and select date. So that way, it is a short date, so select short date. That way, when you are plotting a graph, you maintain it will see it as a time. So you can do a time series graph when you specify it as a date. So we can also click this one and specify it as time. So because of our time, let's quickly go to pivot tables. Yes, we want to borrow 10 minutes. So pivot table is the last thing. So it won't be like I've deprived you of the knowledge of pivot table. So we have all this data now. I want to summarize it. Yeah, should we summarize this data? Yeah, let's summarize this data. So I want to summarize this data using pivot table. So we just come to insert. So we come to insert. We come to pivot table. We click from table range. Yes. So from table range, it's asking me that I want to select all the range of my tables. So my table range is from A1 to H77. So I'll say yes, I want to select it. And the pivot table I want to get, I want it to import it in a new worksheet. That is this option that is here. So it means that it will create another worksheet for me, a new worksheet. So I'll say okay. So it opens a new worksheet. And then look at the pivot table I was explaining the other time, saying that, oh, these are the columns that I have. Which one do I want to make important? So what I want to see now is that I want to see probably the sentiment that has the highest score. Which one is how many positive is there and how many negative is there. So I'm going to make sentiment as my row because I want to know more about sentiment. I'll make sentiment my row. So I'll come here and say I'll just click this sentiment and drag it into rows. So I drag it into row, and then I say um, I can say okay, the count of users, the count of users can give me the sentiment, that is the number of sentiments, whether positive or negative. So I can say or let's say count of text, yeah, count of text. So here under this value, remember that value we always do calculation. So it's either count, sum, or we can specify what we want. So here now, I'm good already, but I want to filter it based on the source. So I can know that this sentiment is from Twitter, this sentiment is from somewhere. So I'll just click and drag the source into the filter pane. So here, I've been able to create a pivot table. And look at this pivot table right here. Let me zoom in so that you can all see that. Like this is a table that will tell me that in all of my data, source is all. In all of my data, I have a total of 76 data. I have 42 sentiments that are positive, and I have 33 sentiments that are negative, and I have one that is neutral, a neutral sentiment. Like this is a very easy way to like do a rundown estimation without even plotting graph. You can do a pivot table very quickly from your data and get insights from the data. Look at all those plenty data. You see, we don't have to read everything and say count the number of positive and the negative. We can just look at that. So if I want to know the ones that are from Twitter, I can just click source. I'll just look for Twitter very quickly. So I click on Twitter, I say okay. So it means that there's only one sentiment from Twitter and it is positive. I can go and say, okay, which other one is there? Food blog. So I can click on food blog. I can say, okay, one sentiment from a food blog. So I can click on multiple. I can say, select multiple items. I can click on Spotify. I can click on IMBD, and then I can also click on Twitter. So if I apply that, telling me that from all these places that I have selected, 11 sentiment of tables. So another, we can create more pivot tables. I can come here. I can come back back to my data, or I can come back to my data and create more pivot tables. So let me see this. So I can create another pivot table. I can say insert pivot table. So existing worksheet, which worksheet? So my new pivot destination reference is invalid. So let me just there's something in A1 already here. So that's why I thought that let me do G or F1. So my pivot table here. So I can say so my rows is going to be location because that's what I want. Here is a pivot table for what I've just did. So we have 76 reviews actually. And then this is for all the dates. So if I want to see people that comment on the 14th of August in 2023. I'll click this and then I'll click OK. So I have one person that commented on that date. So pivot table allows us to like get a grasp of our data like very fast and very easily. And this is going to be like the end of our lesson for today. So thank you very much, everybody. Do we need assignments?
You have a question? Okay, can I ask your question? So those online, if you also have a question, you can always drop. You can drop your question. You can see the worksheet. Wow, awesome. Okay, good. Thanks for the presentation.
But you know the new column that we created, it's still referencing that it is okay, it's there. But what made it give error because I deleted that column that we created the new column. So it's no longer saying it is error.
Okay, so please a round of applause once again. Okay, okay. Cool. Making a cool. Yeah. So at DSN, please can you just someone is picking my phone. Someone is online, join the Zoom, and then speaking words. No, what happens is that my voice is entering the person's mic. So you're not hearing it. So you have to okay. Okay. Good. So, everyone, please I have this few announcements. Those online, can you confirm you can hear me? Can you please confirm you can hear me? Okay, good. So I have few announcements, and I would like you to listen. So at DSN, we have some core values, and then it's always our joy. We're always excited when we see our community members display this value. One of our community member have displayed this value and would like to celebrate the person. Okay, so the core value I'm referring to is the can-do spirit. That's the spirit of going extra mile. I'm glad to announce to you that someone, a community member, traveled all the way from Ondo to this place to attend this session. Are you not excited? We now celebrate the person. I don't know if she allowed me to just call her name, and so that we can celebrate her very well, because it's actually sweetens us to see such a commitment to learning, traveling all the way from Ondo to this place. You know, the journey is very far. You know, and lodging herself as the person of Johnson Olabisi, right? Johnson Olabisi. Please a round of applause. Johnson Olabisi. So thank you very much, Johnson. We celebrate you for this commitment, and this is the kind of spirit that we want from our community members. We are very grateful for that. Okay, good. Now we have other announcement, which is we have dropped the recordings for the data analytics class on the chat group. Those online is already there. Okay, good. So you can just pick it there. Also, our WhatsApp chats, it may be restricted for a while because some of the admins are having issues on WhatsApp at the moment, and so response may not be as fast as it used to be. Okay, so please kindly bear with us. So the attendance form, we stop receiving response by 3. So by now, it has stopped receiving response. Yeah, yeah, because we believe anyone that is just in attendance 3 is not did not attend the class. So the assessment link, huh? But do not see the attendance form. You have already filled the attendance form at the door. Okay, those physical attendees have already filled the attendance form, so it's not applicable to physical attendees. Yeah, no. So the assessment will also be shared with you today. We are going to commit to that, sharing the assessment link to submit your assessment, the notebooks that you have worked on, especially those that did the Python track with you, so that you can share it there. Okay. Now, this is majorly for those that are attending physically. So the physical session only runs for 3 days. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, I said it before, I'm just saying it again. Thursday, Friday is going to be all virtual. It's going to be all virtual. So let us just enjoy that conducive environment in our house, join online, and then we learn from there. So there's not going to be a physical session Thursday, Friday. We are all going to be joining virtually. We are going to be joining online. So the link will be available. We are on the WhatsApp group. We are going to be sharing the link there. I'm going to share it again via email to everybody, so that especially those that are registered. So if you have anyone here who has not registered, you are not a member. You just get crashed. And then I'm afraid some benefits may not get to you. Okay, good. So if you are not registered, you can still register today, because the registration form will be closing by 11:59 today. So you still have the 11:59 to register. Okay. So and the form to choose more than a stream will be closed by 6 p.m. today. So if you have not filled out for my attending Python and Excel, I have not filled the form to consent that you want to attend 2 streams. It means that the one you register for is what will later be be acknowledged for. So it's only that one that we are going to recognize. The other one, we will not recognize you for that. So in conclusion, I would say thank you all for joining today's meeting. It has been awesome having you around, seeing beautiful faces around you, and the solution builders of tomorrow, those who are going to be building the next solution for the challenges they are facing in this country and the world at large. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow and have a splendid night rest. Please, we that are in Lagos, please, you need to start moving. You know, traffic is not smiling. You need to, especially those that are from very far distance, you need to start moving so that you will not get to company. I have some of my colleagues that got home around 9 yesterday. It's not funny at all. So please, you need to leave as soon as you can so that you can get home as early as possible. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow, and don't forget to be punctual. Also, practice. You need to practice. Practice makes perfection. So, those online, say bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. God. Bye. God.
Just recently put out a challenge to ask for ideas about using an AI to reduce inequity. And we reached out and got 1,300 proposals, and half of those came from Africa. And my next visit back to the continent, which will be in October in Senegal, we'll have a chance to celebrate the winners of that contest that looked very, very promising.
Kwame Fuji. I'm a parent.
My name is Kabuji Mohammed and I'm a teacher.
And my name is Edwin Hillary, a youth advocate and children advocate from Youth for Change Initiative.
My name is Anolapo Ayipe.
My name is Oyebade Grace Omulola, a teacher in this great school, State Senior High School.
I'm Rebecca Ode from Dreams from the Slum Empowerment Initiative.
My name is Mrs. Diokeke. I'm a teacher and a parent.
I see TikTok as a child play.
Videos that were downloaded from maybe TikTok. I even thought most of those videos are just for fun, on useful purposes.
So I used to know TikTok as a free social media where you can send a message, videos, and other video clips.
TikTok was just for fun and entertainment, basically, especially because my kids and I, we love watching the skits on comedy and the rest.
I just know TikTok as an app in the social media. I don't know much about it.
I used to look at TikTok as one of those social media before. So I've been preventing my children from even interacting with the media.
I have TikTok on my phone, but I hardly use it because I feel it's an app that is only used for dance, for videos and all.
I only know how to use TikTok to make videos.
I did not know how to monitor my children's TikTok before.
I've known that apart from using TikTok to make video, comment, I also learned that I can use it to guide my children. I can filter the comments coming to their page. Then now I know that there's an age limit.
The privacy settings that ensure that the children, have accounts that are private, such that people don't just have access to their accounts without permission.
I also learned that I can even monitor my children on what they watch on TikTok.
Reporting inappropriate content. I think it's a feature that I love so much, in the sense that anything that goes or happen that I know that is not appropriate, I have the channel to be able to report to TikTok.
Today I learned that there can be much more, even as an educator, it can be utilized properly, even for children, setting limits, setting boundaries, and all of that.
How to manage it, to even correct the students, even my own children.
How to monitor children when they are using their device online, especially my kids.
But now I discovered that it's a social media where I can control their usage, their responsible usage of the media.
I'm able to know that I can control my children's interaction with TikTok, and I can know how deep they are doing concerning what they are learning. Then at the same time, TikTok is not only for musicals, dancing or comedy. It's something you can go further to learn more, even about painting, cookery, and a lot of other beautiful activities. Safer